Folks, it's Lou and Dave coming at you from the cave.
Oh, look at these glasses. They're terrible.
Oh, put it back on, Lou.
You reckon?
They make mine look awesome.
Oh, exactly right. Look at that. That's awful.
Oh, no, now I feel like I have to take mine off. But if I take mine off,
This is me now doing this game.
I can't see the screen. A couple of old farts.
Hey, the Muppets, we're going to... Oh, that's a good one.
Hang on, get the balcony ready. Just hang on a second. Where were we? Music.
Earliest memory.
Oh.
No, I'm not going to do that question because it's standard. First song you remember.
Oh, God, that's a tough
Not kids song, you know.
No, that's a tough one. It's probably a Beatles track because I shared a room with my two older brothers, and my eldest brother, Martin, was a bit of a Beatles fan, and I was born in 63. Not telling anyone how old I am or anything, but I was born in 63, of course, the year of the Beatles. So it would have been, and he just had Beatles on heavy rotation most of my early years, so I don't know if I remember a specific track, a song. But I remember
I'm in the same boat.
I remember it would have been something off the Essential Beatles, which is kind of ironic, isn't it? Because like about 3 years in, they had a best of album.
Yeah, crazy. Before they actually had any of what arguably are their greatest albums.
I know, but there you go. So I don't know. It would be a Beatles song, and it'd probably be something like Norwegian Wood, to be honest, for some reason.
And to tell you the truth, if we went back in time, I bet
Probably
you it
not.
probably not even a Beatles song. You never know. You know what I mean? It could have been anything.
It's my story. I'll tell it
No,
well.
I'm just going
You're
out
probably
there.
right.
You know?
You're probably- you're probably right. I'm pretty
'cause
sure.
I'm sitting there thinking, what would mine have been if I take away all the kids' songs that I probably had to listen to and everything that was Italian music, because that's all I was allowed to listen
Well,
to.
okay. It's a bit hard to remember the first memory of a song, but it probably was. It could have been Pink Floyd. They featured heavily probably a little bit later on.
I'm thinking the Doors for some reason.
Oh yeah.
Because for
Rise
some
on
reason,
the
do you remember the CBS cassette club? There used to be a cassette club. I was born in 1960, Dave. It's 3 years.
Those 3
make
years
a lot of difference.
Yes, clearly.
CBS had a cassette club where you used to get a little booklet every month with all the CDs that were released as a part of the club and the new releases and the covers.
How quaint.
Sorry, cassette club. Did I say CDs?
You did.
Cassettes.
Cassette club.
Right? And for some reason, and it must have been in secret with my father not knowing, but myself and Kathy, my older sister, born 1958, used to...
Hi, Kathy.
I can hear it now at the window. You bastard!
Yes, indeed.
We had a Doors album, and it was LA Woman.
LA Woman, what a great album.
And as much as I'm sure I listened to the Beatles and all that sort of stuff,
The Doors. Well, that's an interesting first memory. I know it's
an
the
early
Beatles, because
memory.
I actually, and this is possibly a little embarrassing, but I actually didn't realise until, I don't know how old I was, but I was still very young, but I actually thought there was only one band. I thought the Beatles were music.
the only band.
I mean, that may actually be an accurate statement, but that's what I thought.
Well, they were the what spawned
Well, clearly,
basically most things that we've ever listened to.
pretty much. If any band says they haven't been influenced by the Beatles and they came
they're
after the
lying.
Beatles, they're lying.
Yeah, they're lying.
They don't know that they've been influenced by them,
But they have.
clearly. So definitely. Well, okay.
Can't say Doors, Beatles. Yeah, I mean all that sort of stuff. Yes, I love the Beatles.
Love the Beatles.
But I don't know why the Doors sticks in my head, and to tell you, I bet you I've still got the cassette. At
Riders on the Storm, that's still on.
Yep.
Great
Well,
stuff.
LA Woman with that car at the beginning, you know, start the car up and whatever. But Riders on the Storm, the end, all that fantastic stuff going
that
on.
little rose,
Glorious.
like rain.
Glorious.
With
Yeah,
the rain.
The rain, that
And the
was
rose.
always, and that to me, and I do remember hearing that and just thinking, they can do that?
They can do that,
They can do that.
apparently.
It didn't take long before I was buying vinyl without my parents' consent, and I used to hide it in places in my bedroom.
Really?
I wasn't allowed to have
Vinyl was never an issue with me.
I wasn't allowed to have
It's
music.
more the heavy liquor that I was hiding. but
Very,
anyway.
very old-fashioned European family. I wasn't allowed to listen to rock and roll.
I don't think my mother was too keen on it either, mate. She tried very hard to convince me not to be a musician, worried about all that sex, drugs and rock and roll. If only she knew.
Yeah. I mean, you don't smoke drugs.
Well, none of the above.
Sorry. I gave you an opening there, but you didn't take. Anyhow, let's go to another one. Okay, not earliest. The earliest memory's a tough
Well,
one.
do you remember the
What's your
first?
earliest memory?
Well, okay.
JFK getting shot.
Oh, really?
I would have
see,
only
I
been
wouldn't
3.
Well, I would have been 0.
Well, I would have been 3.
He was shot in
people say...
What month was he shot in?
He was shot in the head.
63.
Sorry. Anyhow, 63,
I know,
November.
It was November. See,
Well,
I would have
it
been
was
all
November,
of,
wasn't it?
I would have been all 6 months old,
Yeah.
mate. I don't
Well, I
remember.
was 3.5. Now, people would say you don't remember that. You
No,
actually
no.
don't remember that or whatever.
I-
but I remember my family crying. I remember
It was,
watching
it was
the news and
traumatic,
crying.
so that sort of trauma
Everybody
you would
loved
remember. I
JFK.
think it through. Yeah, you definitely remember that. I
Yeah.
think my earliest memory is actually a little bit nicer than that. Lou. I would have been a little babe in arms, but I remember driving up to my uncle's farm, and as you drove down to, well, you sort of drove into the farm, it's old, gravel road, or mud road, and there was down a slight decline, and then there was a big gum tree. And in those days, they didn't take the gum trees out.
Yeah, they blew them out.
They
drove
around
used to
them.
ride around them. Okay,
So as you
yeah.
went down it, you go around this gum tree and then up the hill around the corner of my uncle's farm, and I just remember that.
Where was the farm?
It was in Nearham South, or in Jindervik, really, just sort of on the border there, up in Gippsland. Beautiful country, people.
Gippsland is beautiful. And
Absolutely
green.
beautiful.
Green. Forgetting the fires and what have you that have happened, but it is normally very green.
Absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, that's
All right, we're going to do the standard thing. Did the first music you ever buy, was it a single or an album?
I was going to ask you the same question. That's what I was going to say. Do you remember the first single you ever bought? It was a single, and it was Creedence.
Yeah.
Looking out my back
I'm
door.
sorry, I'm laughing because I know what I bought.
Looking
Yeah,
out
go
my
on.
back. It was two
Yeah.
that I remember, and Deep Purple, Black Knight.
Oh, yeah.
Were the two
Classic.
first singles
What
I
year was
bought. Oh God.
Well, how old do you think you would have been?
It would have been early 70s, I'd say. So
Oh, so you would have been like 10.
if that, maybe a little
Okay.
younger,
That's
even
gutsy.
maybe
Yeah.
8 or 9.
That's gutsy.
Yeah, no, I had to get someone to buy it for me, but it was my savings.
I bought a
My
single
60
and
cents
2
or whatever it
albums
was.
at the same time.
Oh,
2 albums and a single from Pet Sounds in Melbourne.
Pet Sounds.
Fantastic shot.
Okay.
Single.
It sounds like it should be a movie.
Yeah, and it easily could be.
Yeah.
What was the single?
Come on, what was the
48 Crash. Susie
Oh,
Quattro.
Susie. Oh,
What were the 2 albums?
once-
Quattro, and Paul McCartney, Band on the Run.
Great
Paul
album.
McCartney and Wings.
Wasn't look,
1973.
Susie, if you're out there, love you.
Yeah.
Love your work, but probably would
Listen
never
to
have brought
that
an
album not long ago,
Yeah.
actually, because I
one of the great rockers.
oh fantastic.
And
Needs to be played really loud,
really loud.
really loud, and not on a phone because it sounds terrible on a phone.
Nothing sounds good on a
But
phone.
at
on
work,
your team, mate.
we were talking about it in receiving at work, and they had the what's that modern thing that you can Spotify going?
What's that modern
That's
thing?
gold. What's that modern thing going?
I'm good, Louis, but I don't
What's that?
remember.
Hang on.
What's
I didn't put my
what-
toothpick in. What's that modern thing
that
that's out
modern
there?
thing? Hang
Anyhow,
on, I've got to get up. Where do I leave my Zimmer frame?
1973. I'll get it for you. I'll just crawl over to it and get it. 1973. So I was 13.
Yeah, well,
That's and I was hiding albums because after that I just started.
Well, look it up. When did Black Knight come out?
Let me tell you.
And I used to think that was heavy metal, mate.
Well, yeah. I mean,
You know,
it was where heavy metal.
I know, but if you
Came
listen
from,
to
but-
it now, it's certainly not heavy, and you can actually understand the words
Yeah.
and stuff. It's good. Not
That's
that I'm
true.
having a crack, but great song, great band.
In this partnership, that's me. I
Lou's
look
the
up stuff.
encyclopedia.
I look up stuff. I look up stuff.
I'm
which
surprised.
ironically is
I'm
amazing.
surprised you have to
me.
look up stuff, mate.
Well,
To be honest, I thought
you know what
just knew
happens
this
when you
shit.
get to our age? You've forgotten more than you remember.
This is true. This is
That's
true.
what I'm going
and,
with. Okay.
you run with that.
There you go. 1970.
Yeah, 1970. That makes
What
sense.
was the other one?
So it would have been 7. The other one was Creedence. Looking out my back
Looking
door.
Out my back door. Creedence.
I'm not saying they came out at that time, or that I bought them when they came out, but that's the first two I bought.
Well, they were all talking to each other still then.
Yes.
Sad.
They were still talking to the record company.
Sad. That too. Oh, Saul Zantz.
No.
Zantz Can't Dance. He's the guy that shafted. Yeah, well, that's another story.
That's a whole other
A whole
podcast.
different ballgame. That's another lesson. Kiddies.
Kiddies.
Uh,
All you young'uns that are listening.
youngins out there. 1970.
There you go.
Dave.
So there you go. They were the first two of their go, and so I must have been. Well, I was 7 then, so 7 or 8, maybe 8 years old. When
It
I
took
bought
me
those
3
two.
years after you bought your first single to.
There you go, and I bought those first two.
Break the
God
cherry.
only knows what money I had when I was 8. I clearly like raided my brother's piggy bank or something.
Yeah,
like
I would
that.
have raided my mum's purse.
Yeah, no doubt. Or they
But
gave
no,
me some money.
but we used to be able to buy singles and
And it was-
albums
and
with
Well, there's a couple.
yeah, yeah.
If you open, there's a couple of albums in there.
See these things?
Yes.
These are coins. And in
Remember
those days, actually, that got close to buying you probably a single.
Yeah, I think they were. I don't know why. I think they were
Well, I
60 cents or
remember-
something like that. Weren't they?
Yeah,
50
because
cents?
albums. I remember buying albums for $1.95 at. No, at the
You can buy-
supermarket. You could buy $3.95, $1. You know, like
Tragically, you can.
oh god,
You
I
can
could
buy
pull an
albums
album cover
now
out
for
now and show you.
$1.95.
Yeah,
Sadly,
I know you can, but they're in terrible nick.
and and you don't buy music anymore, kids. You just steal it from the internet. Everyone knows that.
What was that album of? Oh, I was trying to think of the name because I would have pulled the cover up for you because I've got it at home. Something 1974.
And just while Lou figures that out, musicians don't need to eat. You don't need to buy their music. Just steal it.
That's exactly right.
Just download or listen to Spotify
And by
or
the
something
way-
like that. Make those companies rich. Don't worry about the musicians.
Besides what you normally hear, they don't care.
No.
They want you to have it.
What they do, they want you to have it for nothing.
For nothing.
Because they don't need
Nothing.
money. Musicians.
That's exactly right.
They don't need
Lars
to pay.
Ulrich doesn't need to buy any more paintings.
Nope.
I think he's
Nope.
quite comfortable, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Yeah.
Where do I got off on a tangent.
Yeah.
As you do.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
I have no idea.
Oh no, we were after with the first albums we ever bought. Were
Yes.
so let's,
Ooh, so,
let's
so,
go another
so it
stage.
was many years before I bought probably another single, oddly enough.
Okay, and what was that?
And, well, as many years before I remember the next one that I bought.
Yeah, okay.
I do remember Jackson's in there somewhere, you know.
Oh, damn.
But I can't remember which
wow.
one. But anyway, then it was,
At some point you're going to say the same thing as me.
well, no, the two Australian artists were then they came along.
Okay, we're getting close.
So Australian Crawl,
Okay.
what was their first single? It'll Come to Me.
Oh, Australian Crawl.
Oh,
Yeah, things don't beautiful people.
Beautiful People.
Yes, had that album.
Yep, so did I. But start off with the single. And Mental as Anything, Lips Are Getting
Which one?
Bigger.
Oh, yeah. What a great song.
Great song.
Yeah.
They were
I
super
never
song.
knew what the lyrics to Beautiful People were. I
No.
don't think they did.
No one knows.
Yeah, I don't think they did either. And by the way, the film clip, remember? He had broken his wrists in both hands, and he had on countdown. He was.
I don't remember.
So that's why he used to dance.
Oh,
sorry,
I
he used to dance like that.
And
Not,
is-
not like
Is
not
that,
too
is,
unlike
is that how Peter
Garrett. Not
Garrett
too
got
unlike
his
Peter
style
Garrett.
from the-
Although he was around before then, anyhow.
That's true. He's very Peter Garrett.
This is one single that I bought.
Us.
Evie, parts 1, 2, and 3, 1974. The worst thing was it was on a single, but it was such a long song
They had to do
that
it
part of
B-side.
it was on one side and the other two parts were on the other side. Not handy
Was
for when you
was
having
Evie
parties.
only an Australian hit? Did it make it internationally at all, Lou? Do we know? Because if you've never heard this song,
I don't think it was so long. Do you remember, like the
I
day
don't-
the music died, American Pie?
It's just one of those things.
They didn't want to play that when it first came out because it was longer than 3 minutes, 20
Evie
seconds.
parts 1, 2, and 3. People, look it up. Stevie Wright. If you've never heard it,
Yeah.
it's an Aussie classic.
Yeah.
It's wow. It's just
And it's
brilliant.
not often that I can say this, but if you can get your hands on the YouTube clip of the live, he made a comeback and did a live version of the
did.
Opera House. I think it was
Yeah.
an outdoor concert at the
Yeah.
Opera House with a bunch of musos from Sherbet and whatever it is, and the Tudor, those two sisters,
Oh, yes.
the dark-haired one, and the blonde one.
Yes, yes. I'm trying to remember. Was that at the Opera House?
I think it was an Opera House one because there was water and stuff. I think it was the Opera House.
Water and stuff, not coming from the sky.
Yeah, it was just not rain,
rain?
water, like ocean.
Water. Yeah, it was probably the Opera
Oh,
House.
here you go. There you go, Stevie Wright.
Live at the
Parts
Opera
1, 2,
House.
and 3, live at the Opera
Throw
House.
it on, Lou.
I know stuff.
Just throw, you do know stuff.
And it was his comeback, and his life had been butchered by drugs.
Yeah, totally.
But he came out
So
to
Stevie
perform
was the
this
lead
song.
singer of the Easy
Easy
Beats, right? in
They
case
were
you
a
don't know.
world famous band.
Yep. Oh yes, indeed. We're enjoying the vision here, people.
This is the sort of thing, like, theoretically, we should have a little thing in the corner
There's no theory about this, mate. This is going live onto the internet. Well, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how it happens. What a song. I'm going to post this in my group later on there.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Okay, I'll get to sit and listen to that for hours.
Yeah.
Because it goes for about an hour.
But that voice,
Part 3 is going to kill you. Just telling you now. Written by
Vander and Young,
Vander and Young. And
Flash in the Pan.
Flash in the Pan. But Vander, and the young half of that is the older brother of the Youngs from Melbourne.
Akadaka.
And from AC/DC.
Scottish born.
Yep, a little bit of trivia there
What are you
for
gonna
you.
do?
Fascinating story because they were actually, back in the days, Albert's Music up in Sydney. I think
Exactly
it was.
right.
And they said, wait till you meet the younger two.
Yeah,
They'll do okay.
yeah.
Pretty good
Because he was the
predictions to that.
guitarist in the Easy Beats, and the Easy Beats were a great Aussie band, but it wasn't rocket science. That's fact. Although they did have some great songs.
Great songs.
Great songs. And they made it quite big, but they burned too quickly and too fast.
But very, very bright.
But very brightly. But then Vander and Young became great producers. They
Very
had
much so.
great songwriters, great producers. Became Flash in the Pan, who internationally had
Hey St. Pete.
had a
Was
lot
that
of
what it
hits.
is? Hey St. Pete?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great track.
Yep. They had a few songs that were big hits, but then they also obviously produced John Paul Young. And everyone will know, even if they don't know John Paul Young, they will
Love
know
Is in
the
the Air.
song Love Is in the Air
They
from
will, whether they want to know it or not.
Strictly
Strictly
Ballroom,
Ballroom.
which was a huge Australian film.
And just a song you can not resist, really.
So
Whether you want to or not.
What have we covered, Dave?
I don't know, we've covered Evie's, and that's the main thing. Evie is one of the great Australian classics, and you really have,
1974.
you have to listen to it. It's just brilliant.
When did you go to your first gig?
Oh, my first gig was at the Maya Music Bowl.
Sorry, you just went, ooh.
Oh,
my
you
first
know, a
gig.
great memory. I remember it very well.
Maya
I
Music
went
Bowl.
with My Music Bowl, and I went with. I don't think my older brother was there, but one of his mates took me. Mark Pears, if you're out
How
there,
old were
Mark,
you?
God bless you. I probably would have been 13 or 14. And saw Chicago. So if
Wow.
it was my very first gig. So if you look up when Chicago was in Melbourne,
Yep.
we'll know what year. But
And
how
if
old
you
I
want
was.
some trivia, if you love Chicago, and you're not going to hear Chicago like you ever used to hear them now, you just won't. Unfortunately, it's just how it is. They still play,
They did a Christmas album.
but they
It's pretty
don't.
much
Yeah,
gone
but
from
they
there.
don't sound like they used
Chicago
to.
37
You
or
want to
something.
hear Chicago, how they used to play? I'm going to have something for you in a tick. Just bear with us while
They
I
were
look
an
this up.
amazing band. I love Chicago, actually.
Yeah,
when I
well,
was a younger
actually,
guy.
Dave, I'm going to introduce you to this as well because you don't know about this.
Okay.
This is something I know that you don't. That doesn't happen often. That
It
doesn't happen often.
happens a lot.
But it doesn't happen often. Hang on, what am I
It
doing?
happens a lot.
Chicago, the night Chicago died. And that's not Chicago.
No, that's not Chicago.
You should
Brother,
Chicago.
My brain's not
What
working
was
that
it?
fast.
Australian tour.
Australian tour. But yeah, that was my first gig, My Music Bowl, which, once again, if you're not an Australian or you're not Melbourne based for that matter, the Music Bowl is an outdoor venue.
Fantastic
It is a bowl.
venue.
It looks down into a...
Famous for the Seekers. Did
yes.
their monstrous
Yes.
show. Now the Seekers, if you don't know the Seekers, look them up as well
Everyone
because
knows
they
the
were,
Seekers,
they should.
they were
Amazing Australian folk band.
Yep.
And
Kind of a surprise
yep.
hit, really, the Seekers. Kind of went against the trend. Music was getting, at a time when music was getting very sort of psychedelic, along came the Seekers with their very clean-cut folk music and train whistle blowing, as I recall.
Train whistle blowing. The carnival is
The
over.
Carnival, they had some great songs.
Well, they did the song to Georgie Girl,
George, yeah.
Rock Tour Database at the Sydney My Music Bowl. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten my little story about Chicago.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm bated breath.
I've got news for you with your telephone. How are we supposed to see something that size? You can't even see that. Hang on, I can make it go bigger, but even then.
I'll get the magnifying glass out, mate.
Featured artist, Chicago. How's that?
1976.
And 1979.
79, okay.
Oh,
was it
but-
79? No, it couldn't be. I was 16 then in 79.
79. But
What-
look at
what
this. 1978. ELO. I was at that show.
Oh, you beat me.
And, hang on,
Oh, but you were older than me, so that's understandable. So I was 16 when I saw my first concert.
and in the same year, at the My Music Bowl, ELO and Boss Gags doing the Silk Degrees tour.
Oh, I love Boss Gags, and Silk Degrees is still one of my favourite albums.
Love that album. But
I still play it to this day.
he's gone back to doing a lot of blues stuff now.
He has.
My
His last
God,
album's very
he's a
bluesy. I follow
amazing
him on
blues paper.
Instagram. I
Yeah.
love
And
Boss.
if you get the chance, listen to Boss Gags and Dwayne Allman doing a song from really early Boss Gags before.
So he was
Silk Degrees,
very, very blues,
early
and-
70s.
And Boz also.
Boz is the buzz. Remember the
Well,
T-shirt?
I saw Boz at the Palais
Palais.
quite a few years,
That
probably
would have
about
been
10 years ago,
fantastic.
and it was amazing. And Boz, if you ever come back, I'll be there because I love that, and I love Boz. Always have. Silk Degrees is an amazing album,
Oh,
and mind you,
beyond
it had
amazing.
an amazing band on it, essentially Toto.
I love Toto.
So what can I say? Just world
Toto's first 4 albums. I know the other ones after that were fantastic, but the first 4 albums,
Agree.
they are 4 of the greatest first albums you'll ever hear from anyone. Hold the Line. I'm sorry, that drum.
1979
Hold the Line.
Toto. Oh, come on, absolutely brilliant.
Um,
I actually really liked Hydra as an album. I think it was the
That
second.
was
second
good,
one.
yeah. That was good as well.
I loved it. But anyway, how did we get?
Was
So I was going to
Hydra
tell you.
second?
Hydra was the
Toto,
second album. So they kind of
Hydra.
had this
What was the
thing.
third album?
Wasn't Toto 4 because that'd be the fourth.
You idiot.
Was it Look Back? That was the fifth, I think.
Yeah.
Oh goodness me! It'll come to me.
Well, I have the thing, although it's running out of gas, but here we go. Chicago. Okay,
back to
I only need
Chicago.
you to hear one thing. You tell me if you think this is Chicago.
Peter Cetera.
No.
Peter Cetera.
There is a Russian band who, quite a few years ago, called Leonid and Friends. They're all session musos from Russia, although one is from Ukraine? No,
Close enough,
No,
just
somewhere
next
else in Russia. Starts with Kazakhstan. Oh, it is.
A little down south.
The guy who has the Peter Cetera voice. Apparently they put it out there as a gift to himself. Leonid, who is the bass player and constantly plays piano, as a gift to himself for his birthday, I might just did that. As a gift to himself for his birthday,
By battery.
he decided to record, with a lot of session musos and what have you, a Chicago song. And they filmed it and everything like this. Became huge.
One of the early Chicagos.
Oh, it's all really early stuff.
So I don't know.
No,
Does
let's
anybody
go.
really know what time it is?
They do that song, but this was the first one I ever heard.
29 or 64.
25 or 64.
25 or 64.
I've got news for
Been
you.
a few years.
Watch this. And you will love this, Dave. All you need to see here is his reaction.
Oh. What a sound. Hold a second.
Wait for the voice. You're going to freak out.
Oh, come on.
Dave, I'm telling you.
That's amazing.
You haven't heard anything yet?
Russians.
Russians. When they talk, they've got that deep Russian voice. It's amazing.
I'm going to put this on my group, so you need to
Oh, seriously?
You need to pop this link over to me. Oh, come on, that's so good.
This guitarist...
That's live.
This guitarist is a freak.
25 or 64.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guitarist in this band is a freak.
Wow.
Anyhow,
So the first-
they do
the
a
first-
bunch of songs. They're Russian guys. I don't know how. Anyhow, every time they bring up a new
Very-
clip, they've
very
done
talented.
about 12 clips,
Amazing.
right, of different Chicago songs.
I'm going to check them out.
Anyhow, you need to. And you know what
Russia
they do
and
now?
Chicago. No.
They tour the States every year.
Well, they should
because
they're
and
like
they get
early
huge
Chicago.
crowds, and they've toured Europe. We would love them to come to Australia because I reckon they would fill the My
Well,
Music
that's
Bowl.
as close to early Chicago as you can get.
Every single thing that the guy Leonid, who's the bass player and the leader of the band, he transcribes all the music. Everything for everyone, for all the separate little parts.
That's
Takes him a while to do everything, obviously, but it's down pat. And if you watch the drummer when he's playing, he's often
reading the
looking
chart.
at the chart. which is freakish. It always amazes me that drummers do that anyhow.
They do have charts.
Can
They
we
do have
recharge
music.
this somehow? Is that a recharge?
Well, hang on a second.
Because I'm about to run out as well.
Well,
and you know I can't be without our information, Dave.
Well, okay, I'm going to run out too. So what we do is we'll have to keep sharing the. Not advisable, kids. Don't share your power cable.
Don't share.
Right.
Yes.
Let you know where that power cable's
exactly right. Be clean, kids. Be clean.
Is this a family-rated podcast, Lou?
We're family.
A family.
In
Chicago was my first gig.
Yes.
And love Chicago, and I don't know. So I was older than I thought, 16. But around the same time, there would have been Split Ends. And Split Ends I remember it was a Christmas concert at the Palais as well, and that left a big impression on me as well. I might have been 16, 17 years old around that time.
Join the band at that stage?
Just.
Okay.
So it's the first, and
so you didn't get the benefit of the songs that he wrote yet.
I'm trying to think.
Because
even
when he started writing for Split Ends,
True Colours might have just come out. I would have been about 17.
Well, I Got You and whatever.
I think because I'm pretty sure. So it was the Christmas after that. So you're probably talking 79, 80? Somewhere around that mark.
Well, I reckon it might have been 79. And I'll tell you why.
Possible. Were you at it? Were you at that concert?
No, I did see Split Ends, but the reason I say it probably wasn't 1980 because I know that in 1980, myself and a good friend Johnny Datz, another big music nut, who we sat there one night thinking, what are we going to do tonight? Let's go out. And Tim Finn was playing at the Armadale Hotel on his own. So he was playing at the Armadale, and in those days, you could go to a pub and there were just great musicians.
You got to understand, back in the late 70s or through the 70s,
every pub in Melbourne
was the pub scene.
They weren't pizza restaurants. They were pubs.
A whole category of rock called pub rock,
essentially
Australian pub rock.
Yeah.
Was the great years of
and we
Australian
had choices
rock music.
all the time.
All the time.
But this night
the
we
Village
had
Green,
Tim Finn.
Remember the Village
Green? Oh, what about the gosh.
I saw Peter Couples at the Village Green.
The Village Green. I saw America at the Village Green. They were fantastic.
Kidding.
Also saw Victory beat Adelaide 5-0 at the Village Green. Right, but that's another story. Anyhow, this night there was Tim Finn at the Armadale, and then we're looking through the paper and Joe Cocker was playing at the Palais, 1980, and we sat there and we went, and in those days again, Joe Cocker was playing on the night. We just rocked up to the Palais and said, 2 tickets, please.
As you do.
And we saw Joe Cocker, and I don't know how much he drank that night, but God, it was a lot. And we were quite high up.
They weren't his sober.
I mean, there was a lot of weed that night at the Palais. And the guy who was behind us had us hold his bottle of whiskey, which he got in somehow, while he went off for a drag outside. But I remember the band that was on before them was the Sensational Bodgies. Now, a bodgie in Australian terms is like
I can't say I'm familiar with their work, Lou.
Well, a bodgie's like a...
Well, I know what the bodgies are. I can't say I'm familiar with
with that
Sensational
band.
Bodgies.
I wasn't either. They were sensational. You know what it was all? It was all boogie blues rock, right? And they all had flannelette shirts on.
Sorry, mate. I'm going to have to swap power.
And they all had flannelette shirts and jeans on.
As you do.
And it was just boogie, like Chain or Metal Lake or whatever it is, that sort of stuff, which Australian pubs were full of. You have to look up Metal Lake and Chain.
You should look up both of them.
£12 toothbrush.
Please.
And then, of course, you've got Ariel and Spectrum and blah, 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 blah. Now we're rolling, Dave.
We are. Spectrum. Pre-LRB, really.
Spectrum. Was that song big overseas? Bet you it wasn't.
I don't know.
Should have been.
Should have been.
Mississippi was another great band.
Mississippi, Graham Goble. Once again, pre-LRB, yeah.
That song should have been huge.
Yeah.
Kings of the World.
Kings of the World actually was a huge song for me.
Yeah.
As a young kid.
It was an amazing song.
I'd never heard anything like Kings of the World.
Yeah.
It's
amazing.
It kind of turned me on to songwriting a little bit.
Yeah.
In a weird sort of way.
Kings of the World was amazing.
It was like a real, I don't know. It just went somewhere I'd never heard music until that point in time go. It was an amazing track. I don't know why. I'll have to listen to it again. I probably won't be that impressed, but I'll probably go, yeah, but something about it at the time.
No, it holds up today.
Does it? Yeah, I haven't heard
and another song that holds up today, which was a band from around that time, Which of course I've forgotten because I'm bloody hopeless. Mississippi Kings of the World. Hang on, let's just give you a little bit. It's classic. Well, what was it? It was sort of, I suppose, our version of West Coast rock.
Ah, yes. Low Beckers. Yeah, love it.
That could be it today. Because quality holds up, right?
Absolutely, and I think those harmonies, I think a little bit of a precursor to what was to come later on
With LRB.
With LRB, for sure.
Definitely.
And how did we get onto this? We were talking about.
Oh,
we were talking about split ends and the.
Oh yeah, well, let's go back to split ends. 1979.
Totally hijacked my story.
That was me.
But that's okay. I forgive you. I think this
Yeah,
is pretty much going to be the format of this show.
I think so. I think so.
So there I am, 17 years old, probably. I'm guessing 1980. There you go. Would have been 17 years old. And I've gone along to the Palais Theatre, down in St Kilda, classic venue, really.
Beautiful
still love
building.
Still a beautiful building, and still love going to concerts there because there's no bad seat in the Palais.
No. And
basically,
most of the fantastic artists who have been touring there lately, Paddy
yesteryear.
Griffin, Ryan Adams, Jason Isbell, blah, 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 blah,
we
blah.
saw...
Dead Tick, it's another one I saw, that was great.
It'll come back to me. We saw someone there together many years ago.
Do we see Ryan Adams there?
Signed a T-shirt for us. We'll come back to that. Anyway, I'm at the Palais. Now, back in those days, I'm a very theatrical band, Split Ends, and Noel Crombie was the percussionist, and Nigel Green, I think, was playing drums at that stage.
Before Crombie took over.
Before Crombie took over, and he used to play spoons. I'm trying to remember the song now, where he plays this fantastic, it'll come to me too, but a fantastic spoon solo.
I think of the film clip.
And he's playing the and he never spoke.
No.
Ever.
Ever. Very intelligent bloke.
Very, and he used to do all the fashion stuff too. He designed all the outfits and stuff.
Think of the keyboard player from Sparks. Never spoke, but I'm sure he was really smart.
This one, he's playing the spoon solo, and he gets in, da, 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 and someone goes, "Hey, Noel!" And he stopped and he goes, "Yeah." The band,
the first time anyone
it ever spoken was that the band cracked up. Like it. I really don't know. It's probably not a very funny story now, but
it's not often that you get a 5-minute spoon solo.
No, and it was fantastic. I still love the spoons. I play a bit of spoons myself. He was my inspiration for learning the spoons. And seriously though, I was there the night that Noel Crombie spoke on stage. It's a rare moment.
Well, and you heard it first, and that's something that we have to remember.
Glad I could share it with you.
It's a trivia question. At what concert did Noel Crombie actually speak on stage for the first time, and probably only?
1979, 1980 Christmas concert.
Who signed our T-shirts? Who did we go on stage?
Oh, it'll come to me.
But it was at the Palais.
It was at the Palais. Piano player Jackson Brown.
Jackson Brown.
Great concert.
And, those were the days with the freebies.
They were the days with the freebies.
You were allowed to have freebies. I was in the industry, so we used to get freebies every now and then. I think I've seen Jackson Brown 4 times and never paid.
Oh, really?
But he was lovely bloke to talk to as well.
And well, I didn't get that chance, unfortunately.
Did you get that chance?
No,
might have been another
you
time.
were like, Dave, love you, brother, but I've got to go up and meet Jackson. You just stay down here with all,
Don't burn you.
You burnt me with all your friends, and I'll see if I can.
You were alone, right?
I'll see if exactly. And,
so do I have to go downstairs?
And well, you went upstairs, and I stayed downstairs in the foyer of the Palais. And,
that was another time.
But you did bring me a signed I didn't even get to see him sign the T-shirt, but he wrote to Dave on it, which was nice. You saw it. No, right.
I didn't say it.
Anyway.
It was amazing because I remember talking to him and he was saying he had an album that he just released where he was sitting on a branch of a huge tree
Right, and that was that was the album, right?
Yes.
And that was the T-shirt.
That tree was in his front yard.
Oh, fantastic.
That was his tree.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, that was just another piece of trivia.
I wish I'd known.
Thinking
Probably
that
would
if
have
you
treated
saw
the
that
T-shirt
tree,
with
you
a
would
bit more
have thought
respect.
that's a would you watch the car with it?
No, I wore it a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Eventually
it ran
wore
out.
out, and then it ran out. Then it was a bit sad.
There you go. What's the worst, the most you've damaged a T-shirt from wearing it out?
Ooh, I've got a few that fall in that category. Most of my wardrobe.
Over 3.
I've been known to.
They're terrible, and I've still got them.
Well, Nadia wouldn't let Nadia, the good wife, wouldn't let me keep that one, which was a
That's
shame,
a shame.
really.
I don't have someone to throw stuff away, so I've got everything.
So it was fading severely, and all the writing was fading, but still, it was Jackson Brown.
It's Jackson Brown.
No respect.
I got a John Cougar Mellencamp one that
Oh.
just got so damaged, but I loved the cover of it. I saw Mellencamp quite
Was
a few times.
was it a signed? No, it was just a T-shirt.
No, it wasn't. I didn't get any T-shirts, so I only had that signed for you.
God bless you.
Bee Gees,
Didn't
the
let me
one
meet
tour,
him, but
destroyed that T-shirt.
you're
That
a
was
big Bee
fantastic.
Gees fan, aren't
I
you?
am. I love the Bee Gees. They're great.
Well, so do I.
Were,
But I'd
two of them
forgotten,
were
I'd
great.
forgotten until that moment how big a Bee Gees fan you are.
I do love the Bee Gees, and the other one was my Springsteen one. Yeah,
Well, you don't like Springsteen at
no,
all.
I hate him.
I have to say,
Go on.
as you know, I wouldn't call myself a massive Springsteen fan.
Okay.
Don't throw things. I like Springsteen a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I just wouldn't. He would just never was big on my.
He's just not a deity to you.
No, he's sort of a demi
Demi
deity.
semi
Semi
guy.
demi.
Semi-demi.
But still one of the best concerts I've ever been to. Was when I saw him last time here. Just
Last time here was at
it's the soccer
Amy Park.
Amy Park.
One of the greatest places to see a gig.
and I saw McCartney there as well.
Oh, one of the great
Yeah,
gigs. I
and
took my nephew.
well,
You
both
could
those
believe it.
gigs I loved because these dudes are both 70 odd, around that mark.
Yeah, Springsteen's
And,
not quite there yet, but yeah.
Well, no, around that mark, give or take a year or
I'm
two.
pretty sure he'd say, I'm not 70 yet, but anyhow, that's another story.
I wouldn't argue with him because I've seen the
Yeah.
the man's
Yeah.
cut.
He's not in the buff stage like he was in those.
He's buff enough.
He
But
did get-
I was seriously impressed with the energy that he brings to a concert.
Oh, yeah. They're not 4-hour concerts anymore, but they're all over
that
3.
was a 3-hour concert.
They're all over 3 hours. He still
But
does
the
a
only
3-hour
reason,
show.
and this disappointed me a little bit, because I finally got myself along to a Springsteen concert, and I'd been told he loves to tell a story, of course, and I loved the story part of the writing, and I loved he didn't tell one story that night, not
Didn't
one,
he?
which was the only reason it was
He
a 3-hour
doesn't
concert.
tell. He doesn't tell them as much.
We didn't tell any.
Yeah.
Well, he literally would finish a song and went straight to the next. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
And the fact that
Benji's
the fact
incredible.
that people just pull out signs
Ugh.
wanting songs, and he'll literally just go, and you'll
And they're
always,
not always
see the
his.
band.
Incredible band.
But he will get a song and turn around to the band, and you just see the guys in the band go,
What the? Let's.
and half of them. Oh, now here's a great story. Chuck Berry. I heard this on TV the other night. Chuck Berry played with the E Street Band, right? But what he did was, and Chuck Berry was known to be a bit of a prick. He wasn't a nice guy.
I've heard this
Apparently,
about
not a nice guy.
With the payments, he was always a bit.
Yeah,
of a,
he wasn't an easy bloke,
No,
and
I've heard this.
basically he was playing with what is arguably the greatest covers band of all time, the greatest pub
Yep.
band known to man, and he changed the key
As you
of
do.
the song. Didn't tell anybody else. All the guys had no clue. They were trying during the whole song to get into the key that he was in. In the end, every single one of them were playing in a different key because they couldn't figure out where he was because he just kept going. And when the song finished, he walked off stage and they all looked at each other and went, oh. And you hear, and I
Would have sounded
saw,
wonderful.
Oh, I saw a clip of Miami Steve Van Zandt who talked about that story, and he just went, and this is exactly how he put it. He went, I try not to think about that night.
Gonna hurt you.
He just went.
would be
He
terrible.
said that's the worst the
Low
band's
point.
ever played, and they just try not to think about. All of them try not to think about that night.
I'm pretty sure everyone at the concert probably tries not to
Try
think
not
about it
to
as
as
well.
well.
Would have hurt.
That's
Mind
my,
you,
that's my Chuck Berry story,
there's
and I
probably,
love Chuck Berry
there's
stuff.
probably a good percentage of the audience that didn't realise, you know that.
Yeah, that's probably right.
I try not to think.
That's
about it
probably
too much,
right.
but there's a fair chance that a lot of people didn't actually know, but that's okay. The punters, God bless them. But how did we get onto that? We were talking about
I don't know.
completely.
What was the first single you ever bought? No, sorry.
The very, very, very first single. Well, I'm
No,
actually
we've
impressed
got-
that my memory was spot
I was
on.
going to say.
Because I always wondered whether I was kidding myself. But there you go. 1970. Those two singles. Very impressed. I remember that.
1970 is pretty good.
I was all of 7 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I was 10 in 1970 and I didn't buy anything for another 3 years after that. I was probably listening to something like, oh, there was a song by, oh, you know what we had a version of? Nilsson's Without You. Harry Nilsson, Without You.
Yeah.
Fantastic song in Italian.
Yeah.
Sung by Nilsson.
Oh, so he did an Italian version.
Yeah, and I think I've still got that at home. It's got to be worth something, don't you think? It's got the big round hole in the middle.
Oh, the big round hole.
Yeah.
Was that an old style 45?
Without You. It was a European 45.
European 45.
Yeah, you needed to have the little plastic bit.
Let me explain. 45 was the speed, young people, that the record or the piece of vinyl span at, so that it was.
I'm going to just change
right
everything
revs
about what
per
I was
minute.
talking about. Nilsson's Without You was 1971. I take back 1973. Susie Quattro.
So
And
1971 was
I
the
didn't
first.
buy that. Actually,
Oh,
no,
we
I
didn't
probably
buy it.
did. I probably bought it in. You know where we got that from? In Italy, because we were in Italy in 1972.
Well, we're going back. We're
Right.
going full circle back to our first
In
stuff,
Italian.
where we popped our musical cherry, so to speak. Yes. What was the medium that you first heard music on?
Oh, yeah, cassette.
Cassette.
Cassette and radio.
Really? Cassette.
Yeah, not reel to reel.
Reel to reel for me, my friend.
Yeah, no, not reel to reel.
And
We didn't have a reel to reel.
We had reel to reel. In fact, I've still got somewhere some reel to reel that my father had. And I've got no way to play it.
Yeah.
But my dad was big into swing jazz.
I had some reel to reel, but I got that because I had my car serviced and there was a box in the corner and they were throwing it away. I said, I'll take that. So I've got a box of reel to reel.
We had a reel to reel player, and I would have had to. So I certainly heard a lot of music on reel to reel.
Did you have any 78s?
I'm pretty sure there was a few 78s
Bakelite.
lurking around. Bakelite
Didn't
around, but I
bend.
don't know that we had.
Lethal Weapons.
I don't know that we had a player. They're thick. Those
Yeah.
things were
Well,
dangerous.
we had a player. We had this beautiful piece of furniture, beautiful wooden piece of furniture that had a roll top desk, and when you opened it up, there was a turntable on the left hand side that you played. You put 10 albums on, and they dropped one by one, and play side A on every single album, and then you'd flip them all, and they'd play side B. Diamond needle, you never needed to change it.
Oh wow!
Just an AM radio
just,
and one
just,
dirty big
just to your
speaker at
left
the
there,
bottom.
up the top there, mate, is my old turntable from back when I was a teenager.
Yeah,
Still got it there. Still plays. Still get the odd bit of vinyl on it.
I've got.
In fact, this looks like
I've got that
looks like
turntable.
I've left, which is
album
an actual cardinal sin. But I have left an album in the
You
on the
have?
turntable. And what is it, Lou?
Let me have a look.
I'm going to guess it's
This is
something
the next
really.
half hour conversation.
It's probably
I'll
Stevie
guess
Wonder.
What it is.
It's not Stevie, is it?
No, it's not. And
Something
I knew what it was as soon as I looked. I saw
Talking
it.
Heads.
And by the way, you need to fix your thing because it's.
Oh, it's broken.
Yeah,
It's
not
old,
this,
like me, mate. It's
No. I'm
Okay.
good.
Okay. Ooh.
All right, I'm going to get it out.
Oh, it's not silk degrees, is
Nope.
it? I'm just going to say.
No.
Get it out. Let's just show me from a distance what it looks like and
I'll
allow
tell you. What if I give you the beginning of it? Just think bass or something. Da-da-da-dum. Da-da-da-dum.
Not helping, Lou. Oh, Alan Parsons.
Sometime.
Alan Parsons.
That's the one. Eye in the Sky.
Eye in the Sky. What a
Side
number.
2, so you clearly had enjoyed side 1 at that point. And by the way, can I just say, other than the dust, in very good nick.
Oh yes, I look after my albums. That's why I'm a little horrified that I've
I like
left
that. I
it
look after
there.
my albums. I just pulled this thing.
A little horrified that I've left it on the turntable. I must have got distracted, Lou. But luckily I have a couple of pressings of this particular album, so I'm sure the other one is pristine.
I do have, yes. I've also got my
I'll just chuck,
vinyl of...
I'll chuck it in the dishwasher later, mate, and I'll sort it out. No worries.
You can.
You
You can
can.
actually just put a pencil.
Just-
Let's say you put a pencil or
Yeah.
a pen in the middle.
But you've got to watch
Just
the
let
label.
water. Yeah, you just let the water go there, soapy water, and just
Spin them around. Yeah, don't want to put them in the dishwasher, folks.
No.
Not a good idea.
No.
So Alan Parsons, absolutely fantastic.
Who produced?
Who produced one of the
Floyd.
greatest albums of all time, Dark Side of the Moon.
Yep.
What can I say? And was around...
You can't say anything to that.
And was
as
around...
it
Here's a little bit of trivia. Did you know that Alan Parsons was there the day the Beatles performed for the very last time on the rooftop?
I didn't know that.
You do now?
Yeah.
And do you know what colour shirt he was wearing?
Go on.
It was kind of a plum, sort of a
Really?
dark reddish...
Do you know that they're about to do a 70th anniversary of
bullshit,
Let It Be
70th.
concert
Oh.
with
70th.
extended footage of the concert, the complete concert?
Can't be a 70th.
70th?
No way,
No,
because
okay, what
I'm
is
not
it?
that
No,
old
60
in 63.
It's not
was
forget 70. 67,
55 years.
55 years?
It'd have to be something like that, wouldn't it?
They're
No, let it
doing-
be 70...
When was the rooftop
Oh,
concert?
50 years,
69,
mate.
70.
69.
It'd have to be 50. 2020, 50.
Take it back, 70 is just a bit...
70, no, that's like
McCartney-
70 years old.
McCartney's
Yeah,
only
I was gonna
71
say.
or something, 72.
I'm probably this year. It's against paper, so it'll be all right.
Okay, forgive
Anyhow,
my,
they're doing
forgive
it,
my
they're
my
bringing it
transgression.
out. They're going to re-release the concert, which has not been available for ages, even though I've got a copy of it on DVD. Could be a bit dodgy, but anyhow,
love to see that.
complete and doco and everything. It's
Fantastic.
amazing,
Can't wait to see that.
man. You'll see
You
it.
entertain for a moment.
What are you doing?
I'll be back.
I don't know what to talk about.
You,
I'm lost without you,
you can
Dave.
tell us, did you see the Bruce Springsteen doco movie from
Western Stars.
Western Stars?
I own it. I've seen bits and pieces of it. I bought the album. Did not buy the live album
I was
because
hoping to see it,
I'm not
but
a
I missed-
huge fan of live albums per se, although I do think that one of my favourite live albums is Ben Harper Live from Mars. That's fantastic. But in regards to live albums, no, I bought the album and I really believe Western Stars is Springsteen's best album for
I haven't-
20 years.
I haven't heard it. I was
love
hoping,
some
I
of
was
his other
hoping
stuff.
to.
I should have
see-
bought the DVD. I've got it at home. I should have brought it over.
So a little bit of vinyl. I like a little.
Oh, yeah.
Some of my more interesting, one of my favourite albums of all times, Songs in the Key of Life, Stevie Wonder, with the bonus. So for young people, you just saw an album. Here's a single. Remember they had the bonus little single in it.
Yeah. You know how they used to make singles? They'd make the album and
Shrink
put it in the wash.
And put them in the wash and shrink them.
We could
A
say
hot-
anything. And
in a
they'd
hot wash.
You know, we could say anything and they'd believe it.
Had to be a hot wash if you want to shrink it, mate.
Exactly right. Exactly
So
right.
it had a couple of great little extra tracks. Do you
Or
remember
you
the
just
extra-
take it into the ocean when it's really cold in the morning. Shrinkage.
Shrinkage, yes,
Always,
definitely. You always get that.
You
Do
get
you remember
shrinkage.
the bonus tracks on Songs in the Key of Life? Because they
No.
were great songs.
Yeah, I know. And I love Stevie Wonder, but there was a certain point when I think when I heard the song "Happy Birthday," it completely put me off.
Well,
Stevie
that
Wonder.
was 1980. That was I actually really love that album.
Just that song though, it did my head in. You know why? Because it was one of
Master
those songs
Blasters, yeah.
that you couldn't escape. It was always on the radio.
Happy birthday. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Every time you went to a birthday.
But look, yeah, he's had his moments, but he's a master.
it's
You're allowed
great.
one or two.
Kidding me?
Dire Straits.
How many times did you see Dire Straits live?
Oh, I saw Dire Straits at Festering Hall Festival, which reminds me, that brings me
you
back to
also-
Toto,
Did you-
who I saw at Festival Hall when
Festival
they were out
Hall.
here. Was it last year? No,
Oh, really?
many
Okay.
years on. And it was like 43 degrees that day, and
Yeah, I saw
Festival Halls.
Soundgarden at Festival Hall, and it was 43 degrees.
And do you know that?
That wasn't pretty.
And you know that the sound system there is not great.
It's wretched.
Toto
Yeah.
transcended
Sounded
that
great.
sound
I
system.
saw Radiohead there.
Totally
One of the
amazing.
best shows
Anyway.
I've ever seen.
What was I talking about before I got onto Toto?
How you need shrinkage to make a single.
Ah, yes, right. So, yes, everyone's allowed. Oh, Dire Straits.
Oh, yeah,
So
Dire
I saw
Straits,
Dire Straits a couple of times.
Did you see them at,
3 times. I saw them at
Olympic Park?
No.
Oh,
I
saw
missed
them a
that
couple
one.
of times at
Missed that one,
Olympic
but
Park,
missed a few of them. Rod Laver, I saw him at the tennis centre on the last. Yeah,
Love
big fan.
Dire
But
Straits.
he's got a couple of. I don't particularly think they're great masterpieces.
What's
I
that?
think every great artist is allowed a couple of crap songs.
Oh, yeah.
Twisting
MTV,
by the Pool.
Can't stand it. Twisting by the Pool?
Rubbish.
No.
Sorry. Not sorry. Yeah, picky sweet. All right. Okay.
Yeah, not sorry. Not
yeah,
sorry at all.
Yeah, sorry, not
Sorry, not sorry.
Well, someone wrote
Twisted by the
someone
pool.
wrote a comment on one of my tracks online recently about one of my songs,
And said it was.
And I'm going to
They
actually
said it was your version of Twist 'em by the Ball.
pretty much, because the comment was what I would like to say about
Harsh.
that. 2 words: utter rubbish.
I don't know what song it was. I can't say.
Very harsh.
I haven't heard it.
I did.
I haven't heard any of your Twist 'em by the Balls.
If you're listening, kind sir, I do hope you found the piece that I suggested you find.
We've just found a little niche for the program that we'll call our
Utter rubbish.
What's Our Twist 'em by the Ball
What's our
moment
twist-
this week.
So, some great songs on the bonus single that came with
What's the single?
songs
What's the songs on the single?
Ebony Eyes, Satin.
Ebony Eyes, as in
Not
Bob
that,
Welsh.
No, not Bob Welsh's.
That was a
Ebony
good
Eyes,
song.
Which was a good song. But
Ebony Eyes.
is a
How
great
did Ebony Eyes
track.
go?
Oh gosh, well you'd have to play it for you, mate, because All Day Sucker. Now, anyway, some great tracks. But what an album, Sir Duke.
Sir Duke. That is a great song.
Great
I
track.
Wish actually isn't a bad song.
I Wish is a great
Knocks
song.
me off my feet. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
beautiful song, man. Come on. I thought you were.
Isn't she
balanced.
lovely? Oh, speak.
Just played to death, but I love it. Great song. But let's keep going because come on, another star.
Yeah,
Great
I
song.
know.
It's a great album. Don't it? No,
I know.
Don't put it away if you're going to even be like that.
No, but I mean, I love early Stevie Wonder.
Innervisions,
Oh,
Talking Book.
Innervisions. Oh,
The man is a god.
yeah,
Lowercase G, but nonetheless.
yeah. Lowercase g.
Right, there you go.
Uppercase B, lowercase g.
Uppercase B.
Blind
Don't. Look.
Terrible.
And of
Terrible.
course,
Are you putting a cover on
we
this?
mentioned
No?
this a little bit ago. Alan Parsons, as we said,
Not my favourite
worked on that.
Pink Floyd album.
No,
though.
not my favourite Pink Floyd album either, Lou. But it is a masterpiece,
Oh, masterpiece,
nonetheless. And
but Wish You Were Here to Me.
yes,
I hear that
But
album.
you know what? I tend to think of them as a double album,
Yeah, you can.
right?
Did you see Pink Floyd live?
Oh, Lou, you're hurting me now. Because you know I didn't go to that
Because
concert.
I know. I
So-
don't know why you didn't go to that
Oh,
concert.
well, I was a young married man at the time, and we
okay.
were somewhat broke.
Yeah.
And you're like Davey going, I want to go. And it was like, we didn't have 20 cents to rub together. And I said,
And it cost
I
40
said-
cents to go to the concert.
I said, I'll catch him next time round.
Oh, yeah, famous last words, yeah.
Biggest regret, Lou.
They started with a 20... I know it's
Talking
upsetting.
book.
They
Talking
started
book
with
fan.
about 20 minutes
you want to-
version of...
Oh, no, I don't want to
yeah.
know. I don't want to know. It still hurts me. There's the cover for said,
yes, excellent.
said Alan Parsons.
Of Welcome to the Machine.
Oh, yes.
And there were people in
Come
the
in
audience
here,
that
dear
thought I
boy,
was
have a
asleep.
cigar.
They thought I was asleep, but I wasn't asleep. I was
just in the zone.
in another planet.
As you are.
It was the Momentary Lapse of Reason tour with the big round screen and the
Correct.
the rowing
So
before the song.
1989?
Learning to Fly?
1989?
You're gonna have to look that up. though.
1989?
Gonna have to look it up.
I was married in 85, so I was pretty much broke by then. By 89 it was all over. Money wise. I had nothing left. Well,
Hello.
I don't have to show you a whole lot. It's a white album.
You still got the four pictures inside it?
I
God,
don't-
you should have.
I
What
don't-
would you have done with them?
I don't know, and I don't think I originally bought this album. By the way, I think I inherited.
It's not
this.
such a white album anymore as a.
There was a. Are they there? They're still there. Go.
It's just fan those out a little bit.
There we go. Let's have a look. I haven't. There you go.
How much are those pictures worth to you?
Oh, they're worth a lot to me, and I'll just put my dirty fingers all over them. But anyway,
Don't get rid of stuff like this.
great album, and possibly, in many ways, my favourite Beatles album.
Yeah, I always say Abbey
I
Road,
know everyone says Abbey Road,
but
but
for some reason, it's not that it's become passé to say Abbey Road's the greatest album.
it's a great
It's
album.
just that it's an amazing album. It's always been on my,
It's just something
dare I
about
say,
the white album.
and we'll have this moment soon, top 5 albums, but which changes every week or every time you turn your head in bed.
I just think it's a double album where you just get more Beatles.
Bang for your buck.
More bang for your Beatles buck. Exactly
Happiness
right.
is a warm gun.
Yes, it is,
anyhow.
Mama. What can I say? Happiness is a warm gun.
Bang, bang.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
Anyhow.
Happiness
41.
is a warm gun, Mama. Happiness is a warm, yes it is. I'm not doing the high note. Okay,
What have we got?
can you see that?
Can't.
Japan.
Oh, Japan.
Oil on Canvas live album.
Yep. David Sylvian?
David Sylvian voted Sexiest Man Alive.
Really?
At least
in what year?
Probably 1979. You look it up. I'm guessing around that mark.
I've only got one thing of David Sylvian.
I've got several albums
Yeah.
of David Sylvian. I love David Sylvian.
I
I'm a
haven't
big
got
fan.
an album. I've got a large single. Oh, what were they called? An oversized single. I don't know.
Extended edition.
Yeah, or
extended
EP or something like. You know what it was?
No.
Forbidden Colours.
Oh yes, well, Roki
Ryuichi
Sakamoto. What an absolutely beautiful song from
Brilliant.
from the soundtrack of
His voice in
Merry
that,
Christmas,
Mr.
Mr. Lawrence, which was with
David
the wonderful
Bowie.
David Bowie. Yes, goodness me.
Let's not even talk about that. Did we go and see David Bowie together?
No, he played. You went. You went.
I'm apologising for a lot. I thought we went. No, we went and saw. Well, we went. Sorry.
No, you went to a lot of concerts without me, Lee. A lot.
And dare I say, now that we've said David Bowie, you go and see an
I
artist
never
like that,
saw
and all
David
you
Bowie live.
Well,
and
my theory was,
regret-
and I've said this to you, I wanted to see all the dinosaurs before they
yes.
died.
Yes.
And I went and saw David Bowie with Something for Kate was a support act. I like Something for Kate, but live they were outstanding. Anyhow, David Bowie, you want to go see an artist like you want to go see Van Morrison. You're wanting to play all the hits. Van Morrison will never play you the hits. David Bowie,
a little bit like.
he left nothing out. Bowie, everything was just, and he looked fantastic.
Did I have Asia in there? Steely Dan's Asia?
No.
Well, I didn't lift
Was
it
it
up.
Asia?
That's it. Steely Dan's Asia. I have to put that up there
That was
because
the first thing before
Yeah.
Talking Heads. Main line.
did we do Talking
No,
Heads?
we
We
didn't.
will come back to them.
Yeah.
We started off. One of my favourite albums of all time.
We went and saw Steely Dan.
And it was a sad moment, because I'd waited like 45 years
a long
to see
time.
Steely Dan. Two out here. And speaking of someone who wouldn't play all the hits, do you remember the Paul Barton? We were in the second row
Yeah.
up the front.
Yeah.
There's this Paul Bugger in front of us. First row, right in the middle, clearly a huge
Was
fan.
this-
And he
was
wanted...
this- Now, which one was this? Which time was this?
This was
was
the
this
first time.
Well, so not World Party.
This
but
was World Party.
This is World Party. The next time was Steve Winwood.
Steve Winwood.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which I actually thought was a better concert.
Better concert for Steely Dan.
Yeah.
World Party.
World Party was
Hello.
amazing. Big World Party fan.
Yeah.
Both of us.
Yes.
And we got to see, well, in fact, it was a highlight, being that close to World Party, and loved it. But a couple things about...
he wasn't happy.
He wasn't happy that night, was
a
he, Donald?
grumpy old fart.
Donald wasn't happy, but I do love this album, and
Apparently, Donald's not often happy.
I've heard it said, grumpy New Yorker.
Yeah.
But he, the chap in the front row, who'd paid his big dollars to be right there in the middle,
Yeah, he did.
wanted Ricky, Don't Lose That Number, one of the big hits from said Steely Dan, and Donald wasn't having a bar of it, was he? He told him to shut up, if I remember rightly.
The more this guy said he wanted to hear
Ricky,
it, the less chance there was going to be he was going to play it.
I wonder-
He would have changed the whole set
I
list.
I had a feeling it
Just
was
to-
on the set list, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was deleted last minute. Well, still. Now, the other thing about that concert is that if you don't know, Donald Fagen plays a suitcase Rhodes,
Yes.
which is an electric piano, and in the front of it's got a big speaker. The only thing I could see from the second row, looking up, of Donald Fagen was this.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's
We were
much-
it was almost we were too close.
We were so close that
Yeah.
his piano was obscuring him, and I did see the drummer's right hand occasionally
Yeah,
flick
yeah.
out behind him.
Yeah, yeah.
Apparently there was a bass
Yeah.
player.
The sound was pretty good, though.
The sound was amazing. Like,
But
it was
they were,
amazing.
yeah, I got
That was a bit
irritated me.
that was a
Yeah,
bit
they-
disappointing.
they
The
really
second time we
irritated
went, we sat back a bit. Oh, I just skipped over that. 1979.
You ever seen Talking Heads live? Anyhow, I saw Talking Heads. There were double shows. Eurythmics and
You know how to hurt a man.
Eurythmics and Simple Minds came out and did a double show. And
Simple Minds. What can I tell you about them?
great band. And Talking Heads and one of my favourite bands of all time, The Pretenders. I went to that show
I'm not a
only to
Pretenders
see
fan,
The
Lou,
Pretenders.
but I knew you were a big fan. Not a-
Chrissy Hine. Anyhow,
Not a fan.
only went to see The Pretenders. But they were on first, and it was the show with the big suit.
With the
And it's
suit.
the suit. It's the show where he walks out with a boombox,
And puts it down.
Psycho Killer, and the rest of the band comes out as the songs, as basically as the band was formed.
Yeah, it's amazing.
When they finished, I almost wanted to go home because it was like I hadn't seen the Pretenders, but I was like, how can anything get better than this? Well, folks, let me just say,
Pretenders
got pretty bloody good.
Well, this is an amazing album. I remember when I first heard this. Was it 79, 80? Was it 79, 80?
Just forget about
Cross-eyed
that
and
song.
Painless.
That's one of the great songs.
Well, that album is fantastic. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, 1980 it came out. So there was 77 more songs about buildings and food.
Yeah.
I don't know. Might have been another one stuck in there. They were putting out albums every 9
once
months
in a
or so.
lifetime or whatever. But
Great
really,
album though. Cross-eyed and Painless, fantastic.
My God.
Love Talking Heads. Love David Byrne. Still have a couple of his albums now. His solo albums, fantastic.
He went off on a few tangents, David Byrne.
He did.
African.
I follow him on Insta. He's quite interesting. Follow David Burns on Instagram because he posts some of the more obscure things you'll ever see, like just random shit.
Mm-hmm.
Got nothing to do with music or anything. He's just a very arty-farty dude, and he'll put up some very interesting
Well, he's
posts.
fascinating.
He's fascinating. Donna Fagan.
He's another one. Not everyone likes David Byrne.
No.
But
Not
who
everyone
cares?
likes Donald Fagan.
That's true too.
Probably for very good reason. I don't know that I personally
What were the
know
other
him.
albums? Kamakiriad?
Kamakiriad, which is an amazing album, which in a sense is the follow-up, like to the Nightfly.
Yeah.
Because the Nightfly is a story of.
Are these because you bought them second hand, or did you follow them? Did you have a high fidelity moment?
I think I had a high fidelity moment
Yeah.
back in my teens.
Yeah.
I did a few random things back then.
My high fidelity moment,
there's
Dave,
a
before
number.
you go on,
Go on.
was the year of release.
Oh, God.
I got bored and put all my albums in order by year
There
of
you go.
release.
There is a number. I don't know what that number stands for.
47. Well, as you see it.
Yeah,
47.
I
know how to
don't.
do that.
I
Anyway,
may have bought them that way from JB Hi-Fi second hand.
second hand from
Over,
JB.
over in East Keeler.
Did they do second hand?
That's how they started, man. They used to buy collections of songs.
Wow.
But they used to clip those ones.
And before you go on, short story. You know how, because I filed everything by year of release,
Yes.
and I put a sticker on the outside of every plastic cover, as my brother is 10 years younger than me, and he was a muso, wasn't making a lot of money, as CDs came out, I used to give my brother the vinyl. I know. Right now, I regret so much. And the reason I regret it is
Lack of vision,
not
my friend.
because of my brother, because of my nephew, who has taken ownership of those albums.
Oh, no.
And when I'm over there the other day, he keeps pulling albums out of the collection and going like this to me. Every single one of them had a little data on it. He'd go like this and laugh. You know the stuff that I gave him? Springsteen's first 2 albums. Cold Chisel's first album with One Long Day on it. Oh my God. There was all this stuff.
what were you
I
thinking?
think Abbey Road was in there as well.
I've still got all my vinyl. I've never got rid of my vinyl. But this is you may or may not.
Is it Tom Tom?
This is the Tom Tom
Tom
Club,
Club,
and I'm a bit of a Tom Tom Club fan, like Tina.
Joey's a bit of a Tom Tom Club fan.
Oh,
as well.
fantastic! Look at that.
Oh, hello.
Hey,
That's money, Dave.
I know that's money I'm holding
Money.
right there.
And by the way, that's money also because you've kept this in pretty good nick.
It's in great
Look at
nick.
that.
All my vinyl's in great nick. I
No
told
stickers
Zach-
on it, no
Except-
fading.
Oh, look, I don't think I even signed this one, Lou.
Oh, even that's in great nick.
I signed a lot of my albums in my youth,
Oh, no, I didn't
rather
do that.
foolishly.
I didn't do that, no.
But this one, not a. There you go. That is money. That is coloured vinyl,
That's
people.
money.
That's money.
That's money. Band on the Run.
Oh, what an album.
Funny story. My brother, little brother,
by
there's
the
a
way,
theme here, by the way.
I'm holding it. See, I'm holding it, folks.
Yep.
We don't
Not
touch,
holding, no, you
we
don't touch. Don't
those
touch.
things if you've got
No.
vinyl.
My brother was sick, like in bed.
Not even when you
I
put
felt
it in
sorry
the
for
dishwasher.
him. So I took the turntable in there so he could listen to some vinyl, and I put Band on the Run on, first album I ever bought, an album very dear and near to my heart.
Another Tom Tom
Well,
Club,
this one
mate.
doesn't have a cover, so you need to work on that.
It does.
But, okay, good.
Here it is. There's
My
the cover.
mistake.
It does.
Anyhow, he plays with these little cars on the bed, makes a ramp, the car flips off, lands on the album, the needle goes da 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 da, da across Band on the Run, scratched it.
Ah,
Anyhow, I went and bought another copy of that album, purple vinyl.
no.
Still have it.
wonderful.
Money.
Not coloured
Money,
vinyl.
folks, money.
Not coloured vinyl, Lou. Tom
It's
Tom
all right.
Club, but a wonderful album nonetheless.
And again, dare I say, in good nick.
Oh, you'll find
Very
most
good
of my
nick.
vinyl's in pretty good nick, mate.
Impressive.
I looked after it. Except
Impressive.
I think I signed that one. But given that my signature's probably worth a bit, mate, it's probably...
I loaned
Particularly my
my
teenage
albums to friends that used to have parties for them to record songs and stuff to make tapes. I went over to a friend's place once, and
Mixtape.
all my albums were out of the plastic, like black albums, and all over the carpet. I walked in and had what could only be classed as a psychotic conniption, which actually paddles weren't around then, but I needed to be paddled. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. Oh,
Stevie back in his power days, Innovisions,
and that is power days.
that is
That's Too High, great song.
Stevie at his absolute
By the way,
best.
and there's something about the gatefold. And this one, number 67.
Yeah,
I don't know what's
and
going on
randomly
here.
randomly signed by a teenage me.
Yeah, you signed your albums.
Oh, look, that way I knew they were mine when people borrowed them to make their
That's true.
mixtapes, you know.
Yeah,
But
true.
if
By the way, whenever you bought second-hand vinyl, did you ever look inside and whatever?
No.
I found stuff in there.
like money, or
Tattslotto tickets, never winners.
no,
But I bought a
don't know.
My Sex album, second-hand.
My Sex,
Which-
computer games.
Well, it wasn't on this
Wasn't
album,
on that
but you know what
Wonderful
happened? I opened it up, and Computer Games, the single was in there. Got a bonus.
bonus.
Now, this is a little... Okay, so it is...
Okay.
This is just... That is a great album.
This one I'm holding now.
Yep.
It is a great album and a personal favourite. I'm big fan. And once again,
Have you ever seen Peter Gabriel live?
oh, go away.
I haven't either.
Oh, good. Thank God for that. You're really annoying me.
I would have loved to.
Oh, same
Oh,
here.
imagine seeing Genesis in the early days.
yes.
Have you got any early Genesis on vinyl?
No, I don't think I do.
The reason I'm saying that is because I do, but I bought it all second-hand not long ago. Before vinyl went berserk and the prices...
Well, I keep it to my life. These are, by the way, this is,
brother
not my,
has
this,
an
is,
album.
this is not my entire collection. This is
No, I know
just
that.
some I bought
It's
in
just-
recently to listen to in
it's
the
just a
office.
handful.
So Peter Gabriel's So. What an incredible album. Genius, really.
This even though Salisbury Hill was huge,
Oh, yes,
but nothing...
he just went to a whole new level.
Yeah, and nothing was... He was never as popular as he was in Genesis until this. And this was the beginning of the amazing film clip, the stop-motion film clip.
Which his film clip,
Sledgehammer.
like Digging in the Dirt, which is a stop motion, was absolutely fantastic.
Well, this is also got Red Rain. I mean, isn't that with Kate Bush? What does she appear? No, Don't Give Up.
Don't Give Up with Kate Bush. I was
There
going
it
to
is,
say,
Don't
which
Give
is,
Up.
which is just. I listened to this probably a month or so.
You've never
back.
listened to Kate Bush
And,
either. I mean, you might not like certain
no, I
things,
like Kate
but her album's amazing.
Absolutely fantastic.
Man with a Child in His Eyes. That's one of the great songs. I will, hands
agree with you.
down, dare anyone to say that that's not an amazing song.
And Don't Give Up is
amazing.
such an amazing song.
Amazing.
Beautiful. Very, very
Who
amazing.
else did
Mercy
the,
Street
Yeah.
is on this too.
Yeah.
Who else did that song?
Who did Yusu and Dur? Do you remember Yusu and Dur and Peter Gabriel doing... No, that wasn't Yusu and Dur. It was... Oh, was it Nina Cherry? 7 Seconds?
Oh, Nina Cherry.
Nina Cherry, 7 Seconds.
7 Seconds.
I don't know why I went with Peter Gabriel.
Where did I come across Nina
Anyhow.
Cherry in the last couple
She
of days?
released
So
an album not long ago.
maybe that's what it was. And of course,
Yeah, it was an
we mentioned it earlier.
What number album is this, Dave?
This is number 13.
I'm pretty sure the lowest number out of all of them.
yeah,
you reckon it's alphabetical? Can't be, because you haven't done any of the
I
other
have
ones.
no idea what the
You
number
bought
is.
these from a second-hand shop.
It's quite possible.
And how they did it
I
was,
was
they had the number on the outside because you never got the vinyl. Their vinyl was behind
Yes.
in a drawer.
Correct.
Like CDs
So
and
I didn't
stuff.
put the numbers on that.
No, no, no,
And I
somebody
did
else
buy a
did.
lot of second-hand vinyl because
Yep.
I was a broke teenager.
Yep. But in those days,
I was
second-hand
I
vinyl you
was-
could buy for next to nothing.
I was a broke 20-something-year-old who couldn't go to Pink Floyd too. Thanks for reminding me.
And some of the other concerts I went to. Did you go and see... I was going to say, didn't we go and see Blah 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 together? But no, we didn't. Hang on. Now
No,
this is,
no, we didn't.
James Taylor?
Ooh, no.
Did you go and see James?
I've never seen James Taylor.
Fourth row from the front. My God, that was
okay.
an amazing concert. Okay, this is in the wrong spot. So
Is
we've got
that,
to
is
fix
that
this.
broken? It has.
No,
It's
I've just got
dried.
it.
The
It's
glue
dried.
is dried. Yeah.
But we can fix that. And someone will
It's in-
still
it's-
pay big
It's in
money
good
for
hands.
this.
This is the prototype of the Lou and Dave in the Cave show.
Where
we
we talk
talk
absolutely no order to anything that we speak of.
where we talk shit from anywhere from
At the
one
beginning,
to
did
one
we not mention, Dave? Let's give you the story of rock and roll. where it started?
Well,
Wasn't that our idea? Nah,
in the year
stopped it.
25,
25.
As that's exactly where we began. And
Next time we do this, I'm
got-
really going to have to recharge
And
my
this has
phone.
gone so long that it probably is the year 25.
Yeah, we're finished with Love Over Gold,
Love
which
Over-
has Telegraph Road, Private
Telegraph
Investigations.
The-
It does have
okay.
industrial disease.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I have
It's
to
only
admit.
5 songs.
But Love Over Gold. Well, actually, sorry, Private Investigation.
Yeah,
Pretty
Telegraph Road's
much
a great
makes
song
up
as well.
for everything.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I remember the first time I heard that song.
Yeah.
Actually, I had the radio alarm,
Yep.
and woke up to it. And
Well, the first time I ever heard Dire Straits, it's one of those moments. You're hearing someone that you've...
it's a little bit like
You've
where
never
were
heard
you?
anything like
where
it.
were you when JFK died? Well, I was in nappies, but
I was watching my parents cry. I had never had heard anything like it.
so I was painting my bedroom when I first heard Sultans of Swing.
Yep. I think I was watching I think it was on Countdown. That's where I saw it. A music show.
And it is one
from
of those
the
moments, isn't it?
70s,
Because
80s, whatever it was.
it would have been 70s.
Yep.
Sultans of Swing.
Yep.
Oh, we're talking probably
78?
77?
Ooh, Sultans of Swing.
77, 78, maybe 79 at a push. I don't know, it wouldn't have been that late. 70, I'm going 78.
Yeah. Oh, I think 78, but we could be wrong.
Could be
What the hell?
77.
Sultans.
But there'd been nothing like it. It was one of those moments.
Well, he's one of those guys.
You know,
I was at a music conference and this guy who runs his own show and whatever was interviewing some of the people, just filming them saying, 5 albums, why? You would pick these 5 albums, like Desert Island Discs 5 albums. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of Desert Island Discs. They like the Beatles, so they pick 3 Beatles albums.
No.
You're only stuck with 2 other choices. If you're going to be
No.
on Desert Island,
No.
pick 5 different things, right?
you take White Album because it's a double.
Well, that's true too, 78. Recorded in
78.
77,
Yeah,
but
there you go. See,
78.
77, 78. Correct. 78 release.
And one of the artists I said, and only because it was the same thing, first time you ever heard Santana or Woodstock, Soul Sacrifice, you've never heard anything like it in your
No.
life, ever. And I still said, like I think of Soul Sacrifice and early Santana, Abraxas, Caravanserai, Santana 1 and 2. Earth, what is it? Heaven Smile, Earth Smile, Heavens, or whatever it is.
Yeah, that one.
And at all the ethnic weddings, they used to play it. There was this bad guitarist playing it.
Once again, I think my brother's mate Mark
Yeah.
Piers, who took me to Chicago, introduced me to Santana. He was a big Santana fan.
Have you seen Santana live?
Oh, go away. No, look, I was
I've seen
young.
Santana live quite a fair few times,
no,
but
it's-
never from that early,
No.
because I am only young.
No, well, I think Santana played it. Did Santana play at Sunbury?
No, they
played
played
out
at
at,
Calder. At a Calder with
At a Calder.
Queen and whatever, wasn't it? Wasn't that the
Gosh,
year they
yes.
did with Queen?
I didn't go.
Have you ever
to
seen
that.
Queen live?
No.
I got to see Queen live.
Oh, actually, when I think about it, I've seen no one.
Last of the great rock concerts I ever saw. It was amazing. But Santana, saw Santana in 1980, the Havana Moon Tour. The support act, Goanna.
Oh,
And let me just say, Spirit of Place had just been released.
great album.
When they did Solid Rock, which was their final song, the whole Santana band was, all of them were standing at the side, both sides of the stage. They hadn't come on yet or anything, watching this song. They couldn't believe it because of the didgeridoo and everything that goes with it.
Amazing song.
That's actually amazing. I've got those 2
What's his
albums.
name?
Shane Howard.
Shane Howard. Shane Howard.
He's fascinating on Facebook and
Is he? I don't follow him, but I
one
might
of
do
my-
that.
oh,
He's
yeah.
fantastic.
And he's a lovely guy. I've met him in the shop because he's written a few books and stuff of his lyrics as well as other stuff. He's fascinating. Very big in Indigenous rights and what have you.
Yeah,
Plays
always
a lot of
was.
shows.
Always
up
was.
there.
Right from that
Fantastic.
album, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
amazing. Apparently took a guitar off my ex-boss Theo, or Theo loaned him a guitar and never got it back.
I'll let alone.
That's not so
Gutted?
thing, is it? Yeah,
Yeah.
not too good.
Well done, Shane.
That's the story Theo told.
Yes, well,
But yeah, who's to know?
run with it. All right, look, this has gone for a ridiculously long 1 hour and 13 minutes.
Jeez Louise. Okay, what's that cut off? 1 hour, 15 minutes?
Our cut-off is whatever we friggin' want it to be, my friend.
Yeah, I'd like to
We
say
lost
that-
the
I'd like-
audience after the first
I'd
1
like
minute.
to say that
13
we have
seconds.
nothing more to talk about, but that would be lying.
We're going to come back and do this because this is fun. We should do this, Lou.
What are we going to talk about next time?
Oh, I don't know. We didn't know what we were going to talk about this time. So what does it
The
matter?
geopolitical.
Talk more shit
Because
about
we
music?
really don't know anything about
Well,
music.
well,
We know other stuff,
No,
but
I
not
don't-
about music.
Well, I know this.
We don't know.
I didn't
anything
go
about
to anywhere
film.
near enough concerts when I was young, and I now
No, I
regret
know.
that.
I
I actually have spent a lot of my latter years making up for that and doing the same thing you're saying. Making sure
Quality
certain
now,
concerts-
though. It's quality
I
now.
now go and see every act
Quality,
that I
though.
want to see.
Yeah, you have to go
I
and
saw
see.
the Police when they came out.
Yes,
The
at
MCG.
whereabouts?
The
MCG,
when they
no.
did the Reform tour.
Never saw them there. I think
Unbelievable.
Festival Hall was where I saw them.
And
Just before
Fergie.
George Benson, Give Me the Night tour.
George was out here recently.
Yeah, he was again.
Um,
Fantastic still.
Absolutely amazing. Saw the Police when they reformed for their whatever anniversary or whatever it was, and Fergie was the support act from Black Eyed Peas.
Oh, yes, okay. I was thinking
You were
Fergie.
thinking Princess.
Yeah, Princess.
Whatever,
Yeah.
whatever name.
Yeah, what is that?
Neither of them.
Something Ferguson.
Neither of them can sing, from what I can gather.
No. Black Eyed Peas?
Oh,
No.
no, not a fan. But seriously, probably the single worst live performance of any artist I've ever seen was Fergie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a big fan, sorry, but that actually physically hurt me.
Sam Brown. Remember Sam Brown?
I love Sam Brown. Sam Brown was ended up backup singer for Pink Floyd. 'Cause
She supported some show I went and saw, and she used to play the organ with her breasts.
Okay, as you do. I mean, I'm making
No,
that up.
that was part of her shtick.
So that was the. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was a little bit too far away.
I could
in the
probably do
bleachers.
that actually. Give it a crack one.
Actually,
Hang on.
what was I going to say?
There's so many lines there, and I'm not touching them.
I was sitting in a friend's place. Actually, there was about a dozen of us, mostly Phil's friends. They're all a few years older than me, maybe 64, 63, 4. And they started going to shows at the Calder shows, and they've seen Santana in 72 and all this sort of stuff overseas when they travelled, Rolling Stones in the 70s. We were sitting there thinking of concerts that we'd been to. Now, I didn't tape it, I didn't write it down, but we sat there going, oh, seen them, and every once in a while you just go, oh, I know I've seen others, but I can't think of anything. Someone would say something and bang, off you'd go again. A Dan Reed Network. You ever remember the Dan Reed Network?
I do, but I never saw them, of course.
I only went and saw them. They supported the baby animals, and it's when I worked at the Electric Factory and we were sponsoring drum
But see,
kits
you
or
saw a
something
lot
like
of. Let's be honest. You've seen a lot of gigs because you got freebies because of the industry, right? Let's be real about this.
Yeah, but I could have.
But you
I
weren't
could have had a
paying.
house by now, Dave.
Yeah, you weren't paying, is my point. I had a house.
No, but I
I
could
couldn't
have
go
had.
to
I
gigs.
could have had a house if I'd have stopped going to shows. But
Yes.
yeah, but then you go off, bang, off you go again, and you think to yourself, like I didn't realise until you said then, I've actually seen Chicago. But Terry Kath passed away. It was at a blues show in Melbourne at the exhibition there, where I saw the Wailers, Pretenders again, Bonnie Raitt, a whole bunch of people like that. It was fantastic. Chicago,
Industry
I was really
night?
disappointed. No, it wasn't.
Sure.
It wasn't, but I did get in for free. because a mate of mine was on the door.
Yeah,
So,
Graft and
anyhow,
corruption.
what are musos famous for? They get whatever they can for nothing.
We're not famous for anything.
No,
We're
that's
famous
true.
for being broke.
That's exactly
That's what
right.
we're famous
That's
for.
exactly right. Well, they've got to get into gigs any way they can.
It's true. It's true.
Have people you think have heard enough of us at this very moment in time?
Well, you're assuming I'm ever going to put this live on
That's true.
anything.
That's true. It started off. I was quite shy at the beginning. I think
You were shy, but I think you've warmed up.
I think
and
I've
now we
warmed
have
up.
a format to work
I don't like to look at the camera though, but that's okay.
You can look at the camera, you can look deep into the eyes of the audience. Look
Look at that. Look, when I look up, I look like, I don't know what these glasses are. They're like
Mr. Peabody comes to mind.
like my glasses.
Magoo.
I can see.
Magoo.
Fearless Fly.
I feel it's
My
flying.
glasses. I
that's
can
right.
see without my glasses.
Mr. Magoo, I
That
was
was
thinking of
Fearless
with
Fly.
the ear.
Well, Mr. Magoo, yeah, but I don't fall over stuff as much as he did.
Fearless Fly.
Mr. Magoo.
Mr. Ma-
Thurston
You
Howe
saw
the
him.
Third.
You saw
Thurston
Mr.
Howe
Magoo in
the
concert. Please tell me.
Thurston Howe the Third. Bloody hell. Boy, these glasses are killing me.
Gilligan's
I'm going to do,
Island.
from now on, I'm going to be like,
And-
if we ever do this again, I'm going to be Roy Orbison. I'm putting shades on.
Well, we can do that. Well, you've really brought us back around again. I don't know how.
To Gilligan's Island.
Gilligan's.
Yes.
Well, no. just the island thing reminded me of Top 5, which reminds
Oh,
me of
yes.
High Fidelity, of course, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
just one
When
of my
he sits
favourite
there
movies.
making his mixtapes for his
Mixtapes,
girlfriends.
yes.
I mean, how many mixtapes you reckon we've done over the years? I can't, and by the way, I've still got most of my mixtapes.
Far more
Don't
mixtapes
throw
than I've had
anything away.
girlfriends, mate. Let me tell you that.
That's definitely that for me.
It's a lot more mixtapes than girlfriends.
This could end up being a dating site for me. That's another point.
DM me if you're looking for loose
Yeah, yeah.
details.
Yeah. I'm taking the glasses off, otherwise all I'm going to get are these nearsighted people approach me. We're going to be sitting there going like this. We're not going to go top 5 albums. You can't, because it's too hard.
No, but I think
You can pick 5, but, you know, it'll change.
this whole thing started, I mean, I pushed record on this just for the hell of it.
Yeah, I know.
And we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes, but I suggested randomly that we talk about the history of music.
We've put nothing into context in regards to history.
We've done nothing
No,
at all.
As far as historical is concerned. Well, we've talked about our history.
Yes, but we've done
So
nothing at all
that's
to
fine.
add to the history of music. And
Okay, you got 5 seconds, 5 albums that you can't live without.
oh,
That if you had to, you just, you know, you take
well,
with you.
Silk Degrees,
Okay.
Steely Dan's Asia. I'm going to be pressed White Album. Tears for Fears, Sowing the Seeds of Love.
Wow. Okay.
And World Parties, Goodbye Jumbo.
Goodbye Jumbo, Message in a Box. Great album. Love that album.
There you go.
All right. 5 albums. Santana, Abraxas. Abbey Road. Radiohead, The Bends.
Oh, great
Love
album.
it.
The thing is, we're going to the same island, so this is okay.
This is great. What else do you want to listen to, Dave? Damn. I'm going to say Doors, LA Woman. Wasn't one of the original ones that I would have picked, but love the idea of it because it sounds fantastic.
I do too. I'm glad you're bringing it
And
to the island.
yeah, I'm really happy with it as well. And I'm going to go... Bloody hell. Oh,
Springsteen, come on.
yeah, sorry. Born to Run.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was waiting
Hello.
for it. I've been waiting for it.
You know why I don't even think of it? Because it's
Because
just always
it's like,
there.
It's like breathing.
It's like breathing.
I understand.
It's like
and I'm
breathing.
pretty sure I've probably missed one of my top 5 and thrown in something
Oh,
random there, but
how
it
many
doesn't matter.
albums are there that you miss? I mean, Simon and Garfunkel,
so-
and blah, blah,
so
blah, blah,
many.
blah, 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 blah.
Folks, throw your top 5 in the comments below.
that's
I'd love
exactly
to know
right.
your top 5 albums for a desert island. You're never,
Not in any order.
no, you're never getting off the island. They're the only 5 albums you can never
Yeah.
listen to unless you're on the
Yeah.
same island as us. In which
Somehow
case
you've got an infinite supply of batteries.
Yes, yeah,
or,
don't worry about
or
the
power.
Don't
One or
worry,
the other.
don't worry about the technicalities.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be on our island, you get to listen to our albums
Yeah,
as well.
that's exactly right. So pick something
but
different.
It's going to cost you, I don't know, a cocktail, maybe a rum base.
Oh, at least.
It's an island.
Yeah. And anyone from the States,
I actually hate rum, but
anyone from the States who's going to put their stuff in, we're going to be there later on this year.
we will be
We
there.
might not be there in the same cities or whatever, but come and find us. Where are you going to be, Dave? You don't know yet, do you?
Somewhere on the west coast.
I'll be, yeah, okay. Where am I going to be? Santa Fe, Portland, San Francisco.
Beautiful. I'm hoping to get to San Fran at the
Yeah.
very least.
We can
or LA, I'm not sure.
enjoy that one.
And with a bit of luck, we might meet there. If we
Our
do,
paths, we'll do another one of
we'll
these.
do another one of these.
Yeah, well,
From-
Phil will
from-
be there. Good luck.
So this could, well, with the 3 of us, we'll
That'd be
we'll
scary.
put Phil in the middle. He can be like the.
Well, Phil will. You know how I've irritated you with tales of concerts. Phil irritates me because he's seen all these people in their prime.
I don't want to know.
Like I've never seen the Stones. Have you ever seen the Stones?
No,
I've never seen the Stones because I figure even though I want to go and see the dinosaurs before they die, I don't want to see animals die. I want to see the dinosaurs before they die. I don't want to see the Stones now because they sort of
Relax. Kid's going to be with us a while.
I know that. We might see them in movies or something. Yeah, no, I just know. 15
No.
years ago, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
Do love their last album though, Blues album, really good.
You know,
No, we've
Who
got to
knows?
stop. We have to stop.
we have to stop. I'm going to say goodbye.
We're going to
So
do
it's-
like the golfholics do when they finish, and they finish. Oh, you don't know the golfholics?
I
are.
don't.
It's a golf. These guys just film themselves playing golf, and when they finish, they always go, "Thanks very much for watching," like that,
Oh,
and it's off.
we can do that together.
Oh.
But it's Lou and Dave from the cave signing off, and goodbye.